Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another Pound for Pound ATL Live, joined as always by my main man, Toby D. Toby, what's going on, brother?
We still in it. That's what's going on, man. 3 or 4 tied first place in the division. What can you ask for, man?
Now, I mean, you know what? At this junction, you really can't ask for much more. I put it out there on Twitter. I think it was either earlier today or maybe even yesterday. I said for a team that everybody had ranked the worst league or the worst roster in the league, the team that was scheduled to only have 2 wins by most pundits, the fact that here rolling into week 8, we are still talking about being in the mix. And the first time all year, we actually got blown out. Like for the first time. Like for the first game all year long, we weren't competitive. The first time that we didn't cover the spread for all our betting folks out there. Like for the first, 6 or so weeks, you had, they were America's team because they were covering the spread every week. So, with that being said, you have to in a way, dial back the emotions, so to speak. Like Nick over here is saying, let this loss be a wake-up call. And a wake-up call in maybe a sense of, hey, let's remember we're not there yet. We're not really ready to compete just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, in a lot of aspects, you could say that we're playing with house money. You know what I'm saying? So, got to be talked off a ledge sometimes. I know myself, I got to be talked off a ledge from time to time, and we'll get into that as we go through the show. But what were some of the things that you did enjoy out of that loss?
Marcus hit the post route.
Hey-o.
That was one of the things I said. I wanted to see if he was going to be able to hit on some of the opportunities that he wasn't able to hit on in the other games, or some of the things that he just didn't see in the other games, and he definitely did that. He's tried to hit that post route 5 out of the first 6 games,
right,
and wasn't able to hit it. And he finally stepped up in the pocket and threw a nice touch ball to Demare Bird in order to get into that end zone, hitting them in stride. And I appreciated seeing that. That let me know he can hit that post route.
Right, yeah, it lets you know that he can do it, And in a sense, okay, does at some point, does the coaching staff, does Mariota, do they start to believe in each other, so to speak? Because as it stands right now, it really doesn't look like, to the fan perspective, we're obviously not in meetings, we're not at practice, we're not seeing what's going on a week-to-week basis. But right now, it doesn't necessarily look like Arthur Smith and Dave Ragone trust Mariota to throw the ball. And it seemed like something happened in that Browns game. Almost like the best thing and then the worst thing to happen is that we won a game with him only completing 7 passes. And then you follow it up by being competitive with Tampa with him only attempting just over 20 passes. Then you have the San Francisco game and the Bengals game where he attempted 13 and 14 passes. So, something is kind of out of sync in a way that it needs to get back into sync. Right now, we got our good buddy Woon Carter, who gave us a $5 tip, which we appreciate. He says, "Rise up, Pound for Pound family. Glad to be here as usual. We still in it, so let's win. It's on to the Panthers." Yes, we're still in it. And the next 5 games are really favorable. They really are. You got the Panthers twice, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of those are like should have you very like super concerned. Like I was super concerned um, going into the Bengals game, but before the game was even played, because I was like, that's an offense that the week before had really started to find its groove.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, oh, well, they gave up 200 something yards. Yeah. When you tend to give up something like that, the next week, you tend to be like extra focused on like reversing course on whatever you just messed up on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like how many times have we seen that in football? One week a team gives up 5 or 6 touchdowns and you're like, oh man, cool, we got them. And the next week, like they give up nothing. So that kind of had me like worried a little bit. And the fact that they gave up 200 something yards, but still won.
Right.
And, we're able to like I said, find their groove. So let's see, there
Yeah.
was our good buddy Bradley Burnett says, howdy gentlemen, our defensive backfield is in shambles.
Yeah.
Do we look at free agent help? If so, who? Yeah, it definitely did not help at all one bit with A.J. Terrell going down.
Mm-mm.
Like you are already down Casey Heyward. A.J. Terrell goes down. Mike Ford goes down. Now Terrell's listed as week to week, which probably means he's going to be out for Sunday's game. And Mike Ford's day to day.
Yeah.
So you were running out there with an elevated, guy, what is it, Cornell Armstrong?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
just, yeah, like the results were as expected.
And let's not forget Jalen Hawkins is out.
Right. He's out.
He's in concussion protocol. So he's already been deemed out of the game for Sunday.
Right. So we're probably going to see, Dean Marlowe?
Yeah. Him or Air Harris or probably both.
Right. Right. So, yeah, that doesn't look great, especially when you got, PJ Walker, who's building some confidence after beating the Bucs,
Yeah.
on Sunday and beating them, like, from what I understand, they were pretty much in control of that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
They're dysfunctional over there right now, and you can see it. Um, Carolina has nothing to lose, and it was brought to my attention because I didn't realize that the Bucs play on Thursday night against the Ravens. If they lose, we're literally both of us, our teams are fighting for first place in the division. Go figure there.
right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's it's an interesting. So brings up a point. Joseph Thornton says the Panthers game is a must win. We have to get the division under our belt. Like we can go a long way in doing just that. If you can get a win, in the division, that's always like right now, that's the way we're going to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's to me, winning the division is the way we're going to get in.
Yeah.
Jarek
Yeah. I
Butler
mean,
says, oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying the NFC isn't exactly blowing things off the hinges right now. So you got an opportunity, but that East over there, it looks like if it was the end of the day, 3 teams out of the NFC East would be in the playoffs right now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, the NFC South right now is not looking like a dominant like it was a few years back. Jarek Butler says, good evening, pound for pound. Can you please explain to me why is it that we have Kyle Pitts and we're using him as a full-time blocker? Do you think he'll be thinking about leaving over it? Depends. Like,
No.
I don't like, I think that almost like, with like George Kittle out there in San Francisco, like he's still one of the premier tight ends in the league. And, he's also like a healthy blocker. Okay. I think what
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to get Pitts to be is a more complete tight end.
Right.
I know that us as fans flat out view him as a Ferrari and he should be used as a Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
But us as fans definitely don't make the decisions, obviously. And we view it differently than the coaches do. That's just plain and simple on that end. And man, he's doing a good job. He's far and away better this year than he was last year, which was far and away better than he was in college. Like, he's definitely becoming a complete tight end. And make no mistake, like, if it's, Ridder going forward or whoever, when Pitts comes up for, his contract in a few years, they'll pay him. And they'll pay him what he's worth.
Yeah.
Because once you do get a competent pass aspect to your game, it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And you can't convince me otherwise, because you're talking about a coach who had, made Janu Smith get banked from the Patriots, and he's pretty much disappeared since.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you can't sit here and try to tell me that once we get a more competent passing aspect, that both Drake London and Pitts are going to just absolutely eat.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion there. Let's see. Somebody's at. Oh, okay. ATL Down says Panthers and Falcons play on my birthday. Well, hopefully
Happy
it'll be a
birthday.
birthday that'll work out for you.
Yeah.
That's what we really hope. Charles B says, "Hey guys, what's going on, Charles?" Let's see. Let's keep going. Tony Rice says, "Well, the Falcons has just completed what I called our toughest 3-game stretch of the year: Tampa, San Francisco, and Cincy. Really thought. I mean, and that's on paper that looked like it was going to be a tough one, and you came out with a win in there.
Yeah.
So good for a team that's in the position that it's in right now."
I think Willie Doc hit us up, man, with a super chat.
Did he? He did. Haha. I was sorry. I was up a little bit. Let's hit that on there. Get that reaction going, Willie.
Yes,
He
sir.
says, "Hey, fellas, having the injuries could be a blessing in disguise. Allows players to be coached up, building quality depth. Great job as always." Yeah. I mean, that's a positive byproduct, but you definitely want your stars out there. And, in that particular matchup, you wanted, A.J. Terrell on Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or, whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think both of those guys, like each of those guys had more yardage than the entire Falcons team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they did.
now, King
All
7
three
says,
almost hit 100 yards.
yeah, King 7 says, Arthur Smith is making some bad play calls. This man did a play action on 3rd and 14 as if he was going to fool the defense, as if we was going to run. He did the same thing on the Niners and got Marcus smacked. How to say? I agree in a sense, King. Like with some of the play call decisions, I would like to see something different. But I really feel like he's like dealing with a limited, passer.
He is.
And that's like last year, he was handcuffed because of an aging quarterback who was not mobile, who recently shoulder injury / benched out there in Indy, right? Right? So
Yeah.
dealing with an aging quarterback who wasn't mobile, and your number one receiver was Russell Gage.
Yeah.
That handcuffs you with what you can do, right? So this year, you got some better weapons in Pitts and in London, and you look like you got a consistent run game in Huntley and Algier. But you're limited with what you can do and what you can call if you're totally convinced that Marcus is going to turn it over every time. Or make a bad decision. You're doing everything you can to make it as simple as possible for him.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, the passing game looks bad right now. Something I've said to Toby more than once. Like, I would love to see some more, like, you got RPOs, right? Run, pass, option. Right now, we got RO. We're missing the P, right?
Uh,
So I would love to see them dial up some more. They try with the screens, which, as you pointed out, Toby, there seems to be a disconnect there.
it's a it's a real disconnect there, man. Yeah,
So if it's, if the screens are being a disconnect, we need to figure something else out. Maybe it's more like quick in breaking slants, with Zacchaeus or London or even Pitts or whatever.
yeah,
Like I'm remembering, I think it was the 49ers game. He read thing, came up, threw it, an in breaking route to London for about 12 to 15 yards. Like, we need more plays like that.
yeah,
Now, this is where most everybody's at, right? King followed it up. True, but if you can't trust him to throw 10 yards, it's got to be Ridder time. That's where I'm at. Now, Toby, you had a real great explanation before we went on air. And so if you can, I would like for you to now tell that to the folks, because it talked me off the ledge completely.
Charles London pretty much told us why Ridder is not starting yet, guys. They're going to take their time to truly develop him into becoming an NFL pro in this NFL game. He's still got a lot to learn when it comes to film study, how to properly break down film at the NFL level. The man has been playing in college. He's been playing at Cincinnati. Yes, they did have winning records there when he was there, but he still has to learn how to break down tendencies. He still has to learn how to break down disguises. He still has to learn how to break down the looks that he's getting from the defenses that they're showing him with the offense they're running. And they're going to take their time to make sure that he's at that level before they put him out there on the field. And that's the reason why Marcus Mariota is on the field right now. Marcus Mariota also is better at situations. We've seen this. Arthur Smith has decided that situations was going to be a main theme in this year's season. And you're seeing that now. I could argue that he's focused so much on situations that he forgot about the other stuff in between there that you just got to do in order to make this offense a good offense. But they're focusing on the situational side of things, and they're trying to win these games based on situations, and that's why they're trusting Marcus with that part of the game as opposed to Desmond Ridder. So they're going to take their time with Desmond, and until they feel that Desmond is there or Marcus gets hurt or they go 3-6, you're probably not going to see Desmond Ridder on that field at all this year. As Charles London called it, he's the caddy. So when you hear somebody say that he's the caddy, that about tells you all you need to know for Marcus Mariota. He's the guy. Don't forget now, Charles London is also the one that Arthur Smith was mad and said reporters tricked him into saying that Marcus Mariota was the guy before they wanted to say and announce that he was going to be the starter.
Right. No, you're right about that. And also keep in mind, folks, I know Terry Fontenot has mentioned it more than once about following that Kansas City model of trying to get the team in a better place, in a better shape before you bring this young QB in. Now, I really do feel like if they didn't have an extra third round pick, because of the Ryan trade, that you probably wouldn't have picked Ridder. You might have just stuck with, was it Malone in the third round?
Yeah, Malone.
So you might have just stuck with Malone and waited until next year. But you had that extra pick.
Yeah.
And they knew that, so they picked Ridder, knowing that they could probably grab Malone in the later half of the third round, which is what they did, right?
Yeah.
And I still think that Ridder is going to be a good quarterback for him. But like Toby just said, I don't think that you're going to see him at all this season unless we get completely out of contention. Like, so you might see him the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Because if I'm sure we're going to rattle off a handful of, wins in this next 5-game stretch. That's going to keep us, in that contention. But if we get knocked out of contention, then you might get rumblings about Ridder more than what you're getting right now. But I think, but I think right now it is like clearly a a deal where while we are still fighting for a playoff spot, fighting for the NFC South, you trust a veteran, even if he's shown some mistakes, you trust him to be able to see what's coming at him a little bit better than the rookie that you're trying to develop.
Yeah.
So let's scroll back up into the chat. Willie adds, the team starts too slow. They made a furious comeback before the half, but not enough to overcome the Bengals defense. No, it wasn't over enough to come the Bengals offense. Really. But yes, but that's the type of offense that you're running right now. It's a ball control, meat grinding offense. Bradley asked early on in the chat, he says, do we go after a running back this offseason? Many free agents available, Kareem Hunt, maybe Josh Jacobs. I feel like a more quality running back can feast in our offense. I think they're going to bet on CP coming back, because you got to remember right now we're without what has been the spark plug, for this offense. The guy who is able to, take a 2-yard dump off, 80 yards or whatnot. So I think you're going to run with CP and then another year of like maturation for Tyler Algier. Even I think by the end of the season, I don't think we'll be even thinking about another running back, to be completely honest. Algier is really starting to get his feet under him. And I've been enjoying the way he's been running.
Yeah. You know what I like, JR, and this
Sure.
is one of the positives. The good news is now that we fully implemented our schemes, it's showing us what it is we need to be looking for next year. And I said this offline. I do believe that we finally do at least have 4 competent offensive linemen um, out of the 5, because I do not believe that Caleb McGarry needs to be an Atlanta Falcon next year. That third down and 7 plus in that game against Cincy is evidence that he still hasn't gotten it when it comes to speed rushes off the edge. So it is definitely time for him to go and exit stage left. But other than that, I feel confident. Now it could be argued about, um, you know, having our guy up there at the center position right now, Drew Dahlman. But I do believe Drew Dahlman is competent enough in order to be able to run this offense. They're getting explosive plays out of him, and his second year in this offense is going to be grand, I believe, for him going into the second year in 2023.
Yeah, I'm willing to, give Dahlman a little bit more time. Like, yes, it's his second year, but this is his first year starting. So, like, you can really kind of count this as a little bit of a rookie year for him. So, I'm willing definitely to give him a go. He's looked decent enough. But anytime they've tried to just do a straight drop back, like McGarry is definitely the weak link.
Yeah.
Like McGarry has turned a corner in the run game.
Right.
And I'll give him that, but his pass is still atrocious. I can only laugh in a sense that, if it was anybody less than a mobile QB back there, holy crap,
Yeah.
they would have been dead by now, Let's see. Tony Wright says he brings up a point earlier talking about my only point on Davidson's release is what took so long. He did nothing but collect a check. I agree there. Like I'm surprised he made it on the roster. I guess it was the IR part. He must finally be healthy enough to let go.
Yeah, maybe so.
I know that's something that they do quite a bit. So, especially considering you didn't see anything about like an injury settlement type deal. So, he must, like I said, he must finally be healthy enough, and I'm sure he'll land on somebody's practice squad. I mean, he's a second round pick, and I think if you are running a type of defense where you may trust him to stand up outside, which is what got him drafted in college, that he might be a decent rotational piece for you, maybe.
Yeah. Well, let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys haven't noticed, Terry Fontenot has been really good about showing respect to some of these guys that have been on his team before he got here. You look at Deion Jones recently. They still was paying Deion Jones some money, but they wasn't bickering about it. This guy did served as a huge important part to the Atlanta Falcons before Terry got here, and they showed him respect by sending him where he could fit in and possibly start there in the Browns, linebacker core, which I believe he will take that green dot. And same thing with Matt Ryan. Same thing with Julio Jones. They did not, do these guys wrong. They believe in karma. Seems like what they dish out good, they wanted to return back
Right, and
good, and so that's why they did that.
that's where you get the, like, you bring that up. That's where you get this concept of, like, there's only 32 of these teams,
Right.
and if you go around doing vets dirty and doing, like, you'll get a reputation,
Yeah.
right? Like, for a
Mm-hmm.
long time, reputation was like, Bengals didn't pay nobody. They didn't spend money in free agency. They didn't keep corners, nothing like that. You had a reputation with Ron Rivera not keeping cornerbacks. So I mean, you can build that reputation, and the reputation that they seem like they're trying to build is they're trying to build a destination for
Right.
for free agents. They know what they're rolling into next year with the amount of cap space.
Right.
Like Red Swarm over here is talking about money talks. You're right. But do you want to be like the Jaguars where you have to like way overpay people just to get folks in there? Like,
Yeah.
like look at what the Jaguars paid Christian Kirk. He's a decent receiver, but that wasn't that money,
Right.
Let's see. King 7. So fellas, we have all the money we have coming up. With what are the top 3 positions you want to spend our money on? The first should be D line. I like Taquan, but Grady needs another beast on his level. I agree there. Like, I like Taquan. I think Taquan is one of the main reasons why this year Grady's been able to get back to being Grady.
Right.
I think Taquan can continue to develop, but if you have an opportunity at a blue chip guy, you got to go for it. I know,
You
like,
got to go get them.
we're coming up on trade talk or trade
Yeah.
deadline,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's been floated around out there, like, a guy like Daron Payne.
Yeah.
If he's a guy that you see fitting in for the long haul, I would trade for him now, and then try to
Yeah.
lock him up.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not a guy that you see as a long piece, you don't trade for him. Because obviously we're not a piece away from,
No.
really contending, right?
No. No.
So, if you think Daron Payne can be your like the running mate, the next 5-year running mate for Grady Jarrett, then yeah, by all means, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
I
we
mean,
got some.
uh-oh.
I was gonna say we got $2 from Bradley Burnett.
Appreciate that, Bradley.
He says, I hope we spend big on defense this offseason. I hope so. What were you were gonna add something to that, Toby?
I'm just gonna go out here and say it, and people are gonna be mad at me, but I think we need to take a page out of the Rams philosophy, man, and go big next year and get us some pieces up in here. Cause I'm tell you right now, JR, I know what you were saying earlier today when you texted me when I sent you about them first projected 10 players. I'm not excited about this draft early on with what it presents, especially at that top. And it looks like it's gonna be QB heavy. But
Right.
I think we need to, if we can get a guy like Bradley Chubb, I know people talk about he's injury prone and all this and that, but right now he's playing at a high level. And I don't know if y'all saw that stat where they showed defensive ends that still can get to the passer without having to have twist stunts in
Right.
their game. And Bradley Chubb was definitely one of the guys up there.
Now, definitely Bradley Chubb is a guy who, if you can swing a trade with the Broncos, I'd definitely be interested in. Tony Wright brings up a guy. JR, I'd rather the Falcons trade for Montez Sweat.
Okay.
He'd be a
Yeah.
great fit. I don't think that Sweat's a guy that they're going to get rid of. Like, I think that they like Sweat and Chase Young, that pairing. Then you got Josh Allen in the middle. So I don't think Sweat's a guy that they're going to give up. I mean, obviously, if you could, by all means, you know. But Bradley Chubb is a guy. Nick's echoing, saying, "Well, Bradley Chubb is a guy who I definitely, if we could get for a second, third rounder, I'd probably entertain the idea for sure." Reggie 2K says, "I heard rumors about Greedy Williams. I think Greedy and Kareem Hunt are the ones that have been on the block.
Yeah.
Like rumor wise, if you're going to have a long absence of AJ Terrell and Casey Heyward, I would maybe consider looking at doing that. But again, only if Greedy Williams is in your plan in the future.
Right.
Like I'm not trading for one hit wonders.
Exactly.
Same thing with Bradley Chubb.
Yep.
Like if you see Bradley Chubb anchoring the other side of your line and you ain't gonna re-sign Lorenzo Carter or whatever,
right,
then you trade for that guy.
Yeah.
But like honestly, I've kind of enjoyed what the D line has looked like.
Yeah.
They haven't seemed to be completely overwhelmed, like they have in years past. I mean, we sacked Burrow 3 times. D'Angelo Malone got his first sack. Lorenzo Carter tallied a sack, and Grady's up to 5.5 now, right?
Yeah,
so,
to most sites he would be. Yeah.
So I mean, if they keep that going, that's 3 guys right there that are, getting some and I think just this week, Aiden Hutchinson finally tied Arnold Ebiketie for amount of pressures. So, I'm really liking what we're getting as far as pass rush. We just need to see it develop, right?
It's definitely helped Grady Jarrett. Grady has been wrecking shop.
Right.
And he was wrecking shop in this Cincy game. And I know they were like, God dog, can he stop? But
right, can somebody just block him?
Yeah, but that's all he's able to do because he's the star of the defensive line. But JR, it's evidence we need at least one more guy to help him and Ebiketie. If Ebiketie is going to be the future, we need that other dominant presence.
Right.
And nothing against Lorenzo Carter. I think if we bring him back, we might get him at an affordable price. Unless he gets 8 sacks for the season and prices himself out of Atlanta, I think we can get him back here. But he's not that guy right now for me.
Right.
That we can really rely on.
He's a good rotational piece.
He's a piece. Exactly.
Yeah, he's a good rotational piece. Now, King over here is talking about, don't kill me on this, but Anderson is doing just as much, if not more, than Walker, and killing it to be a rook. Yeah, I said it. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Anderson. Quite a bit. Now, what I'd like to see, in all honesty, is I'd like to see Walker and Anderson on the field together, because I think that could be fun. I think because that could allow nothing against Rashaan Evans. I think Rashaan Evans is doing what you want him to do.
Yeah.
Filling those gaps, coming downhill. But, with Walker and Anderson out there, Anderson can give you that whole feeling that Rashaan gives you, and also the athleticism that Walker gives you. So that could be a fun experiment or a fun package, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's see. Red Swarm says Greedy had a lot of hype coming out of LSU, but what has he done since being drafted? See Marlon Davidson. Yeah, he's still kind of a name per se. And Jameson, our buddy Chris Jameson asked, Greedy is going to cost $10 million a year. At the same time, we need to sign AJ at $20 million a year. Again, if you're trading for any of these guys, you have to, in your mind, say this is a guy I'm going to build around my team.
Right.
That's my big thing about trade talk right now.
Yep, and I agree. Yep.
Now, be strong. Hit us with a $5 tip, which we appreciate.
Thank you.
He said, "What are the chances Lamar Jackson's a Falcon next year?" He'd be a perfect fit for Arthur Smith. Slim to none. like straight up and down. I think Lamar Jackson, especially if they end up making it to the playoffs, like he's not leaving Baltimore. They're not in any
Maybe.
rush to get back into the like QB franchise game, right?
JR, look, like the comment earlier, money talks, Doc.
I get you,
And
money talks.
he loves B more. Don't get me wrong, he loves that. But if you get somebody that's going to pay you what you feel you worth, and you're playing on a faster track in a dome every year, where you don't have to play outside in the climates and all of that stuff, it's a possibility. And he would fit. You know as well as I know, this offense is constructed for a guy like him. And I hate it for Ridder, but if he somehow slips through the cracks of Baltimore in contract talks, I think Atlanta will be number one on the table with putting money out there for him.
I'm making this as a joke. Okay. I just got those up front before the chat explodes. You're right. He fits at 16 attempts with 9 completions in Cleveland.
Okay.
He fits.
It's a division.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah. No, I feel you. But he's the better thrower than Marcus is. And
look,
he's shown it.
Hey, look. The 8th grade quarterback of my team might be a better thrower than Marcus is right now. Like, I posted that clip.
Yeah, that was a nice throw.
That dime that he just dropped in the dude. That's from an 8th grader. Okay. Anyways, look, I ain't getting into it. Anyway.
Yeah, that was a dime, boy. And he didn't hesitate. He let it rip.
Yeah, no, he said, "Hassa."
Let's go.
He was on it. He played that dude played a great game on Saturday. Had me pumped. We got our first playoff game this Saturday. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Let's see. Hold on. This is the one I want. Red Swarm says Lamar loves his tight ends. He and Kyle Pitts would light it up. We said the same thing about Mariota.
Yeah, we did. But you can actually see the difference between Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Anonymous says, start the hype train. LOL, you never know. Hey, look, you never know. You saw what they tried to do with Deshaun Watson. So, yeah. I mean, they may try to put a full court press and fully guarantee a contract. Because that's what he wants. That's what Lamar wants, is a fully guaranteed contract.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like, and that's what every young quarterback is going to be pushing for. When teams are going to want to pay more like the Kyler Murray version.
Yeah.
But not the fully guaranteed. All right, we got another one from Sean. Thank you, Sean. He tipped us $2. He says, I'm nervous Carolina will shred us in the pass game. It's going to be interesting. Like, they, but PJ Walker is so daggum schizophrenic almost in his performances. Like, going back to last year as well. So who knows, man? Who knows?
But man, we so thin at corner right now, and since he had a great game plan spreading us out in that 5-wide offense, they wore us out in that 5-wide, and it's a copycat league. So I wouldn't expect anything different for PJ Walker in that offense to run those.
They're gonna try
to try to see if they can get us too.
And I know that like the Panthers traded CMC, but they got Dante Foreman, who would love to show Arthur Smith that he made the wrong choice by cutting him. And they got Chuba Hubbard. So, or Chuba Hubbard, however you want to say it. So it's not going to be like a walk in the park. Just go ask the Bucs D-line, who apparently is showing all sorts of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trying to see. Now, Willie says Lamar Jackson doesn't deliver the ball to the receivers all that great. I am not sold. Again, I don't think it's something that you're really going to have to worry about, to be honest. I don't think he makes it out of Baltimore. If nothing else, I think they're going to franchise him. Fred Butt says, I think we're going 6-0. Are you talking about our next 6 games? That would be a miracle. I love you, Fred. I love your optimism. But, like, yeah, that would be a walking on water, parting of the Red Sea-esque miracle there. I'm talking like a biblical proportion is what I'm trying to say.
Hey, man. I mean, anything is possible, man. It could happen, but there's some things that seriously got to line up for that to happen.
Yeah, no. I am waiting on that
Specifically on the offensive side of the ball.
I'm waiting on that Chargers game, though, because I think CP will be back then.
Yeah.
He's all you could see him chopping at the bits to come back because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
posting them running videos, dragging sleds, so I can't wait to see oh shoot, man. Yeah, that's right. Chris, who are you gonna be pulling for in that game? Mariota versus Herbert. That's Oregon on Oregon crime there, buddy. Got to figure out which jersey you're gonna be balling that game. Speaking of
Willie
that,
Doc wants to know if we were doing ballers and fallers this week. We don't got him on.
I got one. Who you got, Willie? Who you got? Because I couldn't think of one, honestly. Like, outside of maybe throwing up Grady Jarrett again. But
yeah, he would have clearly won it.
Like, so who y'all got, as far as ballers and fallers this week? Because, like, I texted Toby and I was like, man, I'm out. I don't know.
Oh, Willie Doc said fallers secondary. they literally failed. He right about that.
Hey, we could have went with a baller with Demir Bird. We could have went that route.
Yeah, we could have.
For that nice catch. Maybe fine. Shane says the baller will be Koo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Koo could be the baller.
Although I was kind of cussing out the TV when he got up the kick, I was like, boy, you better not miss this kick before the half. You don't done it twice.
Hey, Greater Tone says Tyler Algier. Yeah, he got him a touchdown. When was the last time you seen a Falcons back leap over a pile like that?
I ain't seen that since Michael Turner, I want to say.
So, I mean, that was good to see, right? To see him clear a pile like that. Millie Mills, what's going on, bro? This is P for P. What's up? What's going on, Millie?
What's up?
Avery Williams. Nick thinks Avery Williams was a baller.
He had some nice returns. He's starting to get comfortable in the NFL now.
Yeah, I think he's doing I think he's really coming into his own as a returner.
Yeah, King 7 say he was just thinking about Turner too.
Yep.
The last person he's seen to probably jump over a pile.
So, okay, the faller, Nick says the Falcons secondary, but can you really say that when everybody dropped they fell?
Yeah.
They fell down with injuries.
They did, literally.
I felt like, Fred says fallers Mariota. I felt like we might get crucified if we put Mariota as a faller. At this point, like I said, it's, it is what it is, right?
It is.
That's the
that should be the theme for the rest of the season.
It is what it is. Man. Like I don't know what else. I don't know what else you can expect. Yeah. Like we have seen it all that they have to offer. Maybe they can get dialing up some quick. I don't even know. But yeah,
I'll tell you what I know. I'm gonna eat a Tootsie Roll on that one.
Eat a Tootsie Roll. Anonymous says they did what you expected. The only fallers is if you had high expectations. So maybe the fallers who the fans were up too high after beating the 49ers the way we did.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the fallers this week. I almost went with back to reality for the tagline, but I think I used that last year as well. So trying not to repeat those.
Appreciate that, Shane. I love the hat too, man.
Go ahead.
No, you saying he liked the hat.
Yeah. It's a good looking hat.
Thank you.
So let's see. Millie says, JR, what do you think about Greedy Williams? Oh, we already went through Greedy Williams. If they wanted to trade a fourth or an under or AJ Boye. I wouldn't mind AJ Boye, but my only problem is like you bring anybody in right now, they're like trying to get them up to speed is going to take too long, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We got another tip from Joe Houston, or a tip
Joe
from Joe
Houston.
Houston.
Appreciate that, sir.
He says, do we draft a lead back or go all defense? I don't think we're going to go all defense. The back part is interesting because, you know, if you're picking, like, say we're on a trajectory where we're picking in the mid-teens, and, like, if there's not a guy there that you really want, do you think, like, Bijan Robinson out of Texas, like, do you think he could be your, like, Derrick Henry in a sense? Like, or your Saquon Barkley is more likely.
I'm telling you, JR, I'm going veteran style out next year. I look, you seen that possible free agent list for the running backs. There's gonna be some good ones.
Yeah,
if they make
you got
it
like
to the free
Kareem
agent
Hunt.
list. Yeah,
I think Saquon's on it. I don't think Saquon's gonna make it.
I don't think he's gonna.
It looks like Saquon's fully healthy,
He
and
could.
you know he's about the only thing that the Giants have going up there, and they're 6-1. So I don't think Brian Dabble's gonna let him go. You know.
Yeah.
Let's see, Bradley. Good Lord, Bradley. Thank you, sir.
Y'all on it tonight, man. Appreciate the love.
Yeah, that's right. He says, I want them to use the draft to build both trenches.
Yeah,
I would love to see a solid right tackle.
Yes.
And, you know, I would love to see, like, Wilkerson's been doing okay, and he's been doing fine, but I wouldn't mind a rock solid guard. Like, can you imagine having a Chris Lindstrom on the left side too? You know what I'm saying?
We probably won't get that, but yeah.
But you see what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, no, I see you. I feel you. I feel
right.
you.
Let's see. There was something else I wanted to read before I saw. Fred says the faller is me because I expected to win.
Hey man, I feel you, man.
Hey, it happens, bro. It happens. No, yeah. Making history as always. Nick says we are tied for the longest streak for not going over 500.
Yeah, I was not going. I thought about bringing that up, but that stat looks like it was necessary because this is the 12th game that we haven't been able to get over 500. It was 11 before this one. Now it's 12.
Yep. Let's see. Millie says, I tell you what, I don't care what happens with MR2 and Indy before he calls it quits. Bring him in for a day and let him retire here. I'm pretty sure they'll do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure you'll see MR2 with a 1-day contract, and then he'll go into the Ring of Honor and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And before too much longer, somebody will be like, oh, Matt Ryan played for Indy? Oh, I didn't know that, because it'll be forgettable. So yeah, that's in a lot of ways that sucks for him. Wish he would have been able to go out on his own terms, but hey, he'll forever have a place on my wall. So
yeah, he sure will.
Same thing with his running partner over there, Julio Jones. Like they'll always have a place in my mind, like cemented in Falcons history. Let's see. William Amy says Arthur Smith needs to get his crap together, man. I don't know, dude. I'm unless I'm just fully wrong. The only thing I'd love to see is, like, let's add the P back to the RPO. Let's get back from the ROs. Let's get to the RPO. But other than that, I think he's just dealing with limitations. Like, I'll tell you this straight up. Next year, if they roll with Ridder, we spend a whole bunch of money, get O-line, all this other jazz, and we're still talking like this, I'll be on the, Smith needs to move on train. I'll be treating Smith like the Chargers fan treated Aaron, what was his name? I could see his face. The running backs coach from the Bills that got hired as the Chargers coach. Before Staley.
Man.
I'm blanking.
Oh man.
I can see his face.
Anthony Lynn.
Anthony Lynn, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to be a deal where, they're going to get the team set up and then they'll go out and get a different coach? I don't know. But look, straight up and down, we all knew flat out, like, this team and this roster was in horrible shape. That takes time. That takes time to rebuild. So
Yeah, we
we'll
got
just
Millie Mills.
yeah, Millie got Lynn. So let's see. William says, to be honest, his play calling is just not gelling. I think we like Toby. You brought up such a great point earlier. I think if we can start hitting on those screens, we would have a different opinion.
Yeah, we just
Because
ain't
think about go back and
watch.
watch the Seattle game.
Yeah,
Go back and watch the comeback that we had with the Rams. Like it fell short, but we were, it was hitting more,
yeah.
And I think if they can get that, maybe we can get there, right?
Man, I feel you, Avery William. I feel you, William Amy. But look, we just gonna have to hold on a little bit longer, Doc.
Yeah. He says, I want to win now, not next year or the year after.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
I
feel
agree.
you, man.
Completely. And then when we start to see that, like we start to see that winning, whether it's, against the 49ers, you're hanging with the Bucs, you got a feeling like, oh man, we're just on the cusp. And then you have a Bengals game and you're like, no, we're not on the cusp.
Yeah.
We might be on the dock. We might even be in the parking lot, but we definitely ain't on a boat yet.
Yeah. Look, if y'all have not heard the quote from Arthur Blank on the State Shapiro show this week, he said it best. We're still adding pieces to this team. We're not there yet. We're still building, but he feels good about the direction and the leadership that we have. And I'm gonna tell you what, I feel good about it too, y'all. I think we're actually setting up good for 2023, and we can still win the division, even with the way we're playing right now, and with the quarterback we got.
I will say this: Fred Butt says, "JR, I don't think Arthur Smith will be here long enough. His offense is too basic, and he's not enough big plays." I don't agree with the basic part.
I don't agree with that part.
I don't agree with the basic part. I don't even agree with the big plays. I mean, like I said, the touchdown that you had was a 75-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Right? They're there. The plays are there. They're just not hitting them.
Yeah.
Like the last few weeks, Arthur Smith has put on a masterclass of calling run games.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this has to do, again, I keep saying, with the limitations of what we have at the signal caller.
And he keeps trying to figure out how he can still win with Marcus. And he's not going to give up on that until he just absolutely has to. And so we're just going to have to grind through it, guys. And we're going to have to go through the pain of it all.
This right
hope
here,
that it gets better or not.
This comment by King is like where I'm kind of at. He said, I just think it'll get worse for us. Teams know Marcus can't throw. And Arthur can't throw, and Arthur doing too much play action. That part I don't agree with. Play action, there's analytics that show it's anyway. That's when they go and take his head off 2 or 3 times a game. Marcus is like a test dummy. I agree with a lot of your statement. What I'm worried about is if you can't get some semblance of a pass game, like something like, even if you're going to stick at 13 to 15 or 13 to 18 attempts, I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make those attempts chunk plays to keep the defense honest and keep them from creeping down. Mm-hmm. They run the ball, they get the defense creeping down, and then they try to hit them over the top. Now, if Marcus can get more consistent at that, it's going to be a decent enough game plan for this year. So somebody else brought up a good point. Eric Mack says, how long did it take Kyle Shanahan? It was 3 years or so before they really got rolling over there?
Yeah, it took him about 3 years. He had to get a quarterback, you know.
Exactly. So it takes a little time to get built. Bradley says people are way too impatient with Arthur. Look at the salary cap situation. Look at the roster. Look at his QB. What the heck did y'all expect from this man? We expected competent football, which we have gotten. We have gotten pretty much every game except for the last game. That's the part I keep reminding myself. I'm trying not to live too much in the present, like too much in the now. Keep a look at the whole picture. Like you gave up a lead to the Saints, obviously, but you were dominating the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
You came back valiantly against the Super Bowl champs. You beat the Browns that at the time they were running through everybody.
Yeah.
So you beat the Browns. You hung with you were the start of the downfall of the Bucs. Like they couldn't barely put the Falcons away. They needed the refs' hands to help them win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you beat the 49ers. You actually held them to less points than the Chiefs did. So we've been playing competent football. And we've been playing, competitive football. Like Floyd says, we got our butts kicked. Now we just learn from it. Honestly, I think had you been in there with a full complement of your secondary, it may not been as bad.
Yeah, I think it would have been a different outcome, but that's neither here or there, I guess, at this point.
Right.
But I do believe it would have been a different outcome if you'd have had Heyward in there and you'd have had a healthy AJ Terrell to go along with Isaiah Oliver. I think it would have been much better. But you got to understand when you're bringing new guys in, they don't have communication, and you saw that was an issue with the new guys in there. They couldn't. Cornelius Armstrong them. They didn't have the communication part down.
Right.
Yet.
Yep.
And hopefully
Exactly.
now this week you'll get a full week of being able to communicate with the guys that's going to be in there that you're going to have to rely on to be in this game against Carolina Sunday.
Right. I agree. And maybe we'll get, lucky and we'll start to hear some better reports out of Terrell. They said that he was walking around the locker room without any kind of boot on. So, he didn't want to talk to nobody, but maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll get some good news.
But regardless, we're still in it, guys.
Yeah. Hey, we still we still
are
tied for first place.
That's right.
So, okay, I'm gonna read this. I didn't pre-read this comment, so let's see where this goes. Last season and this season, Julio Jones hasn't done much, and he only had a 100-yard receiving game last season in Tennessee. 151 yards against Seattle week 2. Nothing since. He must be talking about somebody else or talking to somebody.
Probably is. He probably talking to somebody.
I try to some of our regulars. I'll throw their comment up there, and I probably should pre-read everything. Let's see. Dex says, I'm under the impression that Arthur Smith only trusts Mariota with limited amount of the playbook. I also think that he has plays drawn up for Ridder, but needs him to be more ready to take over. I think that's where they're at. Honestly, I think they know what they have in Mariota, but I think it comes down to they just don't feel, that Ridder's ready yet, and they don't want to absolutely ruin Ridder. They want to get the best out of what they know, like what we saw in preseason. They want to be able to have that same consistency, that same effect, on the big stage. CDX says he is checking in from Long Island.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what
somebody was checking in from San Diego earlier. I thought that was pretty slick.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on in.
Let's right.
Go.
Let's see. Shane says we got that small guy disease. We get our butt kicked, but we just keep fighting. That's right.
That's right.
We're like Rudy. We just keep getting up.
Man.
Like I said, you start stringing together some wins. We'll look back at this and go, okay, yeah, of course the Bengals beat us. They have a very high-powered offense. Let's see. Okay, William says he's going to play before bye week. That's my opinion. Marcus Mariota, he's a bridge quarterback. Yeah, I mean, if they because we got a pretty late bye this year, right?
Yeah, it's a late bye, week 14.
So, right. So if we're like a dumpster fire at that point,
yeah,
I could see him during the bye week making the switch and letting Ridder finish out the season.
Yeah.
But if you're still in contention, there's no reason to. As much as it may drive us crazy, you know.
But see, like the other thing I said, JR, is that you got to be careful with this because Marcus realized he's one or two people. He's either a starter or a backup, and he's willing to accept either one, however it unfolds. If he's a backup, there's a good chance you can still keep him here as a mentor and somebody to be here with Desmond Ridder. So you want to be careful and let him play himself out of the starting role than just forcing him out of it.
Right.
If that is a plan that you want to keep in place, having both these guys here together.
Because look at it like this. We all watched what transpired in New England last night, or most of us did anyway.
Yeah.
You ran Mac Jones out there who was supposedly healthy again. And after the first quarter, you yank him and put in Bailey Zappi, and he finishes out the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's really much way you're going back to Mac Jones. You know, you
Probably
start that.
Not.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't really start that mess.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right.
It's, you know, it is like at that point, you've told Mac Jones that, hey, I don't trust you. I don't trust you to be competitive. I don't trust you to complete passes. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, you spent a first rounder on a Belichick don't care about no draft picks.
He showed on.
He ain't never cared about no draft picks.
Mm-mm.
Like, if you want to know where's a place that, like, money-wise, if they could figure it out, like, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that's where Lamar ended up.
Yeah, it could.
Not, like, just Lamar in general, but, like, that's Belichick's MO is, you know, more likely it might be like a Ryan Tannehill situation, but that's more his MO. He wants those veterans.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, like I said before, if Lamar slipped through the cracks of Baltimore, you best believe Atlanta is going to be a top team to put that money on the table.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Let's see. Bridget says, don't folks get tired of talking about this Ridder versus Mariota?
No,
folks
they
keep
don't.
talking about dumb mess. Nah, stop it. Ain't no fans making no decisions. I agree that we ain't making no decisions, but no, I mean, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we do, Bridget. We talk. We talk football. And right now, on a on a team that doesn't have a quarterback firmly cemented in place, that's what we're gonna talk about, you know?
Look, man, I'm riding with Marcus all the way, dog, and I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of people don't understand. Marcus is really still learning the position of being a quarterback. He was thrusted into the position when he got here, and you probably could argue that he needed to sit a year himself coming from the type of offense he played in at Oregon. This man truly really started learning the position when he got over there behind Derek Carr to really learn how to break down NFL film, just like I was talking about with Desmond Ridder. This man is still learning the position as we speak today. And this is another reason why you're seeing some of the growing pains that he's going through with Arthur Smith, who knows him better than anybody because he had the guy when he was a rookie there in Tennessee all those years. So he knows Marcus better than anybody. And he's trying to help Marcus to really grow into that guy that he believes he can be, if there's any growth that he can get out of him. They're just trying to figure out a balance and how to get it to work. I don't know. They got time, though. They're 3-4. So it's better to be 3-4 still trying to figure it out than to be 1-7.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 1-6.
Bridget follows it up. She says, there are other things about this team as well. What about the defensive side of the ball? We spent a lot of time in the show talking about the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Like we did, and we will continue to do so. A lot of our Friday videos focus on the defense. This past Friday, we before the game, we brought up the Grady bunch. Him, Taquan Graham, and Arnold Ebiketie and Lorenzo Carter.
Yeah.
Like those are a fun thing to look at right now is like the fact that we are getting some pressure. We are getting some sacks. We are getting affecting the quarterback. I think with those 3 sacks, that puts us up well over double-digit sacks for the year now, for team-wise. And, given that we only had 18 sacks last year, to be well on our way to that already this year, halfway through the season, big thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I like what I've seen from the D line, especially from Taquan Graham, a second year 5th round guy. You know, Ebiketie, as I said earlier, is tied for the lead for all pressures, tied with Aiden Hutchinson, who went number 2 overall.
Yeah.
Like, Lorenzo Carter looks like he's pretty much on pace to do what he did last year for the Giants, maybe even eclipse
Yeah.
it a little bit. I think he's
Hmm.
up to 3 sacks or so now.
Yeah.
So
By some sites, yeah, he would be.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very happy with like King 7 says, we talked about Anderson. Like, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Anderson and the versatility that we're seeing from him. He's
The dude there, yeah. There is some positive, JR. I'm telling you, going into 2023. And if we can keep some of these pieces like Lorenzo Carter,
oh
you
yeah,
know, and add on to it next year, our D line can be crazy.
right. I think like Williams says, Malone needs more playing time,
Yeah.
and I think he's gonna get it. You
Yeah.
know, and like Chris adds, Ladman is going to be a great role player. Very much
Yeah.
think so. Very much think
Hmm.
so. I think that Malone, if he keeps developing, Malone may cost Carter a job if Carter wants
And
too much money.
and you said this before. If you notice, the same play call was called for both of them, and they both executed it.
Yep.
So that should tell you something right
Right.
there.
Yes.
To
I'm
get the
I'm
sack.
super. Yeah, I
Yeah.
am uh I am much more pleased with like year 2 Dean Pease's line, like defensive
Yeah.
line, than I was with year 1. Now,
Hmm.
like some of his, coverages, I'm not like, I don't know if just guys aren't like really performing it well or what have you, but some of the like middle of the field coverages, which hopefully we're going to have Cody Alexander on this Friday, hopefully, I think.
Yeah.
Uh and like those are some of the questions I want to ask him, as far as like our coverage scheme, like where is it a downfall in the scheme itself, or is it just
Hmm.
the guys not executing? Um, let's see. Somebody asked, 10 Stormy Day says, "Hey guys, late to the party. Did y'all talk about the Athletic article about Drake leaving early before the interview? Uh, not a cause for concern yet. I did not see anything. I haven't seen anybody like really reposting that. So by now, if there was something to be concerned about with Drake London, I think you would have heard it by now.
Yeah.
So,
I think
but
so, but
that's something that, I mean, we'll keep an eye on. As far as like next tomorrow is when we should really start hearing like more about like AJ Terrell, and we know Hawkins is out for sure. So let's see. I think that just about. Oh, okay. Bridget says, what do y'all think is missing key on the defense to make them a top 10 unit? Consistency.
yeah, that and another
Yeah,
pass rusher.
yeah.
They
I
still don't
think
have it yet.
a consistent pass rusher would be. I am enjoying what Grady is doing, but if Ebiketie can take that step next year and
Hmm.
start converting those pressures into sacks, or if they can get like a Bradley Chubb or something like that, who can add to that D line, I think that would help a ton. Um, and if you start like if Anderson takes like I think Anderson could be a guy who causes this defense to take a major step forward. In years past, Dean Pease has used linebackers quite a bit in pass rushing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, I think that those are the things that could do.
Yeah.
So
We need another veteran presence over there
right,
opposite of Ebiketie to help grow him a little bit more. I like
yep.
Lorenzo Carter, but he even though he's been in the league for 5 years, he's still growing himself
Oh yeah,
and finding himself as a pass rusher. And we need a guy that has some more success at that position. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep. I completely agree. It's that time again, my friend. And it's
That's
time to put the ticker down there at the bottom.
it.
Just tell y'all that y'all can find us on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128. Toby?
Toby D 1991. And man, congratulations, boy. I see you up there. You killing it on Twitter, man.
Oh, yeah. 1,000 of you crazy people decided y'all wanted to follow me for some reason. But yeah, no, that was cool. That was cool to see that, transpire, because I've never been one of those type of people that, do the follow back kind of thing. So like, if y'all, people follow me, it's because they choose to. And that means that they're enjoying what I'm seeing. Dwight, last comment here.
Yep. I was just
Dwight says, do y'all see us making a move before the trade deadline, and who do we get? If we make a move before the trade deadline, it will only be for somebody who they think they can build with.
Yeah.
If they think they can build with somebody like a Bradley Chubb, they may try for it. Deron Payne, they may try for it. Greedy Williams, if they think that they can build with them. You're not renting any players.
Right.
We're not there.
Yeah.
We're not the Rams. We're not bringing in Von Miller just to get us over the hump. We're not even on the road. So
yeah,
that's kind of where that is. All right, folks. Appreciate y'all. Y'all enjoy your night. As always, Falcons fans, rise up.
rise up.